dig deep now into where it went wrong for Daniel Dubois. Before I ask you guys, let's listen to Dave Allen, who was talking on Fight Night on Saturday.
Made to look poor.
He was, yeah, of course, because we're saying one of the greatest of all time. He's made to look poor, but Daniel, you can look poor, but this is a world champion with his hands by his chest, following Usyk, stumbling over his own feet, couldn't even cut the ring off. He was poor. I thought it was really poor.
Breathing out of his mouth in that third round, wasn't he? He looked
Usyk
gassed.
is fantastic, and Usyk will make anyone look a bit daft. But even if you're looking a bit daft, doing like falling over your own feet, but his hands are by his chest. There's no excuse not to have his hands in the right position. Daniel was beat maybe a minute in. He got hit with 3 or 4 jabs. He was made to miss. At the end of round 1, I believe Daniel's dad was in shouting double jab right and taking over the corner. Don Charles is the trainer.
Right.
That's Daniel's dad. They've got a great relationship. There's one coach. If I was with Jamie Moore for 10 weeks and my old man came here and started giving me instructions, he'd be told where to go by me and Jamie. It's ridiculous.
There were
Don
25
Charles
lads in that corner.
He's a great coach, Don Charles. Daniel Dubois' father should not be given any instruction. He's not a boxing coach. Whatever relationship they've got, fantastic. He's not a boxing coach. It was a shambles from. It went all wrong for Daniel.
Daniel never really got started in this fight, as far as I was concerned. Why? Why didn't he get started? And how bad a night was it for him?
He did land a few good right hands in the beginning.
First round?
First round.
Yeah.
But then it's similar to what they were saying, where he followed him around, and there was no he couldn't really cut off the ring, and he just looked, just looked like he was just trying too hard.
Were you surprised? I mean, there was a moment in the. I said to you yesterday, Spence, and I'll throw it to both the heavyweights. There was a moment in the first round where I thought it was a defining moment, and I wanted to see what you thought. It's when he got Usyk in the corner, back to him in the corner where Usyk doesn't want to be, and I thought this is the moment where Daniel's going to step in, let his hands go. He's either going to land, catch one on the way in, or just hit air, but he's going to send out a signal of the momentum that he's trying to pressure. You said to me on Thursday about controlled pressure, but he's got to put it on Usyk and start to dent him. Yeah. That was an ideal moment, and it showed me at that moment in that first round that nothing had really changed from the first fight.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
why was that? Why would Daniel have not? He's manipulated or manoeuvred Usyk into that space where he wants him.
Never really maximised on the.
Yeah. I think it's 2 things. You have to, obviously it's one thing to watch yourself fight someone, but it's another thing to get repetitions of it. So when he's in the gym, obviously we all heard the stories, he's knocking everyone out, X, Y, Z, but you haven't actually planned for those situations. I feel like a lot of it was based on, you just got to hit him, but it's how do you hit him, how do you position him, the actual boxing part. One thing with Usyk is Usyk isn't such a good fighter because he's just a good fighter. It's because he knows what he's doing in what part. So if you're going to counter it, you have to be able to box your way to those positions. And then, unfortunately, I think a lot of it was based on brute instead of
Did
brains.
you boys expect more from Daniel? I know that we've made the arguments. I mean, Spencer makes the argument that Usyk was better. I don't think Usyk was better. I think
Daniel was worse?
I think Daniel was worse. Yeah. And I expected more from Daniel.
It takes a little bit of either being really fast to be able to get to Usyk, I think, or being an absolute out-and-out brawler.
Spence, where are we with Dave Allen's observation about the corner being a mess? Because we've seen this before, right? Frank Warren called Daniel Dubois' dad, Stan, to the corner. It was either against Joe Miller or against Hrgovic. Because Daniel defers to his father. Whether that's right or wrong, he defers to him all the time. Even when he's in a press conference, he doesn't give Don Charles perhaps the currency that he should do. So now we're saying that the corner's a mess. Was it a mess?
Well, look, the corner was right in front of us, and Don Charles, look, he accepts that the father is instrumental in Daniel in the ring. He's always been there from the beginning, and so you have to accept it. So yes, Don Charles is the one that should be giving the instructions, and that's what he was trying to do. And Daniel's dad was from the outside shouting in. Now, that's out of Don's hands. So Don is now trying to give these instructions. You've got to calm the fighter down, get him in that moment. Daniel's dad is behind Don, screaming, and Daniel's looking out the ring, looking at him. That's always been the way it is.
But is that a mess? What I'm saying is...
Of course it's a mess.
Dave Allen's saying it's a mess.
It's a complete
John Fury
mess.
did the same thing with Tyson Fury.
It's a complete mess.
When you're trying to get instruction, you need one clear voice.
There you go.
Calm, clear voice.
So it is a mess.
Yes.
But the issue is, though, that mess works in a different fight against a different person.
That's my point, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Precisely, that's my point. Can I ask you guys a question about preparation for a fight? How big a deal is the events leading up directly before the fight, the hours before the fight? When you're going into a major fight like this, your mindset, your preparation, being prepared for the eventuality that's coming, how disruptive or challenging is anything going on around you that perhaps shouldn't be going on around you?
In terms of leading into the fight.
Leading up to the fight. So on the day of the fight, on the afternoon of the fight, you're coming into
okay.
the arena, you're going to get there 2 or 3 hours before, right? Anything going on out of script, does that disrupt the whole routine? Because we talked about Anthony Joshua in the fight against Dubois, not being prepared, getting there too late, not being prepared in the dressing room the way he wanted to, coming out looking like he was haunted by something, and then manifesting that performance. So when you're setting up for an event like this, is every detail and every part of the routine fundamentally important? Can it set you off in a different direction?
I think yes and no. Yeah. I think if you've got the strong mindset and you also believe you're going to win, whatever's happening outside, you can lock in. But when it's a fight where you're not 100% sure, you're looking for every single thing to help you. Oh, he looks a bit nervous. Oh, he did. So if it's gone the opposite way and you're now late or you're now, no one's got you water, you're taking in the negative. So you're looking for the negatives elsewhere for someone else. But if you're already in that mindset, as soon as it's happening like that, you're already flustered. Oh no, I'm late. Oh no, I'm. So I think it's more based on your character and your belief in the fight.
Cause there's a lot of noise coming out about the preparation that Daniel had on Saturday, and the idea. This is what I've heard, and I wonder what your reaction to it was. There was a party at Daniel Dubois' house, ordered by his father, with about 70 people at the house.
The day of.
The afternoon of. The afternoon
was Daniel there?
Yes.
Was Daniel there?
Daniel couldn't have been around.
And the people that were there were not known to Daniel, to such a point that Daniel actually asked his father if he could go out for a drive because he didn't know anybody there.
That is insane.
And then beyond that, you'll see footage of it. The entourage, this party that Daniel doesn't seem to know anybody of, were all coming to the fight, but they weren't allowed in the arena. And so on the way in, they're being asked by security as to the reasons why they come in, and Daniel is being stopped and told, I think his father told security that unless you let these guys in, he's not fighting.
Oh, that is sorry.
How disruptive.
That is a different story altogether. That is insanely disruptive. Wow.
I mean, we're talking about fighters being regimental on the day and superstitious on the day, and some fighters want to wear a ring in their laces and all that sort of stuff. And it all has to be on point for you to go in there, because, like you say, any little thing can throw you off track.
That is not a little thing.
Could you imagine? No, can you imagine going through that?
Yeah.
No.
And the problem is, it's coming from someone that he looks out of the ring when they're talking. It's coming from his dad. Obviously, I've trained with him. His dad's a huge part of his life. So that is obviously going to be disruptive.
Are you surprised by this, Joe?
I am very surprised. I'm shocked that you can have that many people over. You're preparing for a massive fight.
Yeah.
You need rest. You need to chill. You need to get in the zone. And you got this big party happening.
Did you see, again, I want to ask about body language and dynamics. When I saw Daniel Dubois fight Anthony Joshua, he came into the ring, which, by the way, I thought was a liberty that he had to come in first, because he was the champion.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have been coming in first. In this instance, I understood why he was coming in first, because the 3 belts are with Usyk. But when I saw Dubois come in on the fight against Anthony Joshua, I saw a man on a mission that was full of intensity. Yeah. When I saw him come in on Saturday, he looked, and I don't want to use this word lightly, but I'm going to use it for context as a placeholder. He looked a bit disinterested. He looked a bit disengaged. He didn't seem to have the same intensity, the banging of the gloves and the intensity. Now, some of that can be histrionics and a lot of way, but did you get any sense of that?
I did, personally.
Did you?
Yeah, because once again, I've got a bit of a different insight into Dan, because I've trained with him. So I know every boxing session, he's an intense guy. When it comes to boxing, he's serious. And whether it's maybe beating AJ on such a big stage and getting, you're the guy, you're the king slayer, you're 70 people entourage, it can kind of change how you feel. Obviously, you see now, he's a lot more talkative, he's
growing up,
Yeah, so it's a bit like, maybe he kind of, I'm not saying he's lost it, but a little bit of that,
didn't really have the same sort of
all-right energy.
Surely what's happened hours before, though, we're just talking about that, and then, your mindset and going in there. Daniel strikes me as that type of guy that you go, everything has to be in place. Do you know what I mean? Everything has to be meticulously in place. Something like that happened. You go, now all of a sudden, has that sent him elsewhere? Because I'm with you, Simon. You look at him when he was on that ring.
I worry for that boy. And I do. Listen, I've seen Caroline make her own decisions, Caroline Dubois, and she seems to have blossomed. He is very much in his father's thrall.
Yes.
And I worry for him that opportunities are going to be taken away from him. I want to ask you a difficult question, boys, and I know that it's something you won't like
Joe,
to
you're
answer,
up.
but you're both going to. I'm going to try and get an answer from you. Do you think he swallowed it?
When he got knocked down the second time?
Yeah.
He was still able to get up.
Yeah.
I feel right. He was still, you know, even though he got knocked down with a heavy punch, he was still able to get up.
Yeah. So does that mean you think he swallowed it?
I think so.
Yeah. Lawrence?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But if we're going to be, I don't know what he's actually experienced on the ground, but he did seem cool by the count of 10. He was able to walk to his corner and so on. But so I don't want to say he swallowed it, but it was tough.
Yeah. Here's the confusion for me, right? So
because I was annoyed that they threw the towel in.
No.
And I said, this is an undisputed heavyweight
You're
champion.
fighting for the undisputed. You want to go to the
I'm going to tell you why Don Charles threw the towel in. I've not spoken to Don about this, by the way, but I think that he's thrown the towel in because he's recognised Daniel's not getting up. And you boys are right? So we're gladiators, so we go down. No matter what, you get up, you're falling around or whatever. But Daniel looked like he was in focus.
No, and he's looking at him.
But he was not looking at the corner, he was looking elsewhere. So he's taking an instruction from someone, isn't he? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know this because I've not spoken to him, but I'm looking at him and he's looking and I'm thinking...
He's nodding, yeah.
He's not going to get... So Don Charles has taken that decision, and fair play to Don for doing this. He's not getting up.
Yeah.
So to take the heat off him for us having this debate now, I'm going to let the towel go.